All right, today we're going to be reviewing some Bluetooth headphones. I'll be listening to 5 songs over 4 pairs of headphones covering 3 different categories, which is the quality, the comfort, and the calls. We have 2 people doing the reviews, and there's only going to be 1 winner. Now, when I say that there are 2 people doing the reviews, I actually have somebody behind the camera today. His name is Jason. Say hello.
Hello.
There he is. Now, here's the thing. I don't know anything about headphones. In fact, I don't really know anything about music in general. I am definitely not what I would consider to be an audiophile, but I suppose Jason would consider himself an audiophile. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I think you could say that.
Let's put it this way. When I'm listening to these headphones, I'm going to be using terminology that sound right to me, perhaps sound right to the layman, to the every person. But I'm relying here on Jason to be able to tell me what I'm actually saying. Today with me, I have the Cambridge Audio Melomania P100, known for its wonderful battery life for over 100 hours. Lossless audio, and the voice of Matt Berry.
Wow, this music sounds like it comes from space.
These headphones might be a winner purely based off that. We have the Bowers Wilkins Px8, the 007 edition. Don't know if they're any better than the regular Px8, but you know, James Bond is cool, so that's awesome. We have the Focal Bathys. Bathys? Everyone says that they're the best. I think they're really ugly. My boss owns a pair of these. He let me borrow them. We're going to see how they sound as well. And finally, the Bose Ultras. The songs I've chosen today, Lose Control by Teddy Swims, Paper Bag by Fiona Apple, Playing God by Polyphia, Knights of Cydonia by Muse, and Humble by Kendrick Lamar. I do need to quickly mention as well that I will be using YouTube Music for listening today. I'm aware that there are other services out there that have higher quality sound files such as Tidal, but for the everyman, for the everyday person, they're probably going to be using a service like Spotify, YouTube Music, or so on. Okay, Teddy Swims, Lose Control, very powerful song. He's a very powerful singer. There's a bit of distance that I'm hearing, I guess, is the best way of explaining it. So it sort of sounds as though Teddy is further away than he would normally be on something like the Bose Ultras. There's a very powerful moment in this song where he sings the title of the song, I Lose Control, and it feels like that lacks, I guess, a lot of punch. But it's clean sounding? I don't know. Can you help me describe that a little bit better?
Yeah, so I mean, with a male vocal like this, you need a lot of upper bass and mid-range presence, and ideally kind of a slow decay of notes to really let that kind of baritone sound reverberate in the ear cups, right?
These Bose headphones are incredibly bass heavy, and I've just come to the realization that when it comes to vocals, quite a lot of it gets like drowned out. And I didn't realize that until now. It sounds awesome. It like, from a feeling perspective, listening to these gets me like amped. Like, I guess this is something that you would like put on at a gym if you wanted to like, you know, some heavier sort of bassier, maybe even faster, higher tempo kind of music. But I'm losing some of the voice.
Yeah.
It's being drowned out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a bit of a weakness of the Bose QuietComfort Ultra, is that they do have quite a bass emphasis, right? And once you've gotten used to that, you feel like, you know, everything should sound that way.
The way that I would describe these is that it's a very nice mix between the vocals and the bass, in that his voice comes through very beautifully, very clear. It sounds very, very clean, and the bass itself isn't too overpowering. I'd say so far, from what I've tested, I'm enjoying Lose Control by Teddy Swims on these the most, on the Bowers Wilkins Px8.
And I thought you might, because they kind of combine some of the best traits of the Melomania and the Bose, in that they're a lot bassier than the Melomanias, and they've got more forward mids, but they've got, there's less DSP going on than in the
What's
the
DSP?
Bose. Oh, like post-processing.
Okay. These headphones are like the Px8s and the Bose had a baby. And what I mean by that is that from a soundstage perspective, Teddy Swims sounds like he's serenading me. He's right in my ear hole, which is lovely sounding. But it's very, very clear. The bass is quite nice, not too overpowering. So far, for this song, these are the best. You're smiling at me. Am I going to say that for every song now?
Except Nights of Cydonia.
I was staring at the sky, just looking for.
All right. So once again, the way that I'll probably describe these is like, I guess, fairly neutral sounding. A lot of the songs that I've chosen have these sort of big moments in big moments from the vocalist where I would expect it to sound a little bit punchier and maybe even bassier. And these lack all of that. They're just really clean. Is that fair to say? Is there any better way of explaining it than that?
Well, I mean, with this song and Fiona Apple, by female vocal standards, she's not singing upper registers. She's got that kind of breathy, husky kind of a voice, right, which occupies more of the mid range. So again, I feel like that, kind of the suck out in the mids on the P100s, that bit of recession in the mids, might be doing this song a bit of a disservice.
There is a static sound that plays at the start of this song by design that I was a lot more aware of in these. There's a part later on where she says, "Honey, I don't feel so good."
Honey, I don't feel so good.
And it sounds like it's warbling. Overall, it sounds louder than any of the other headphones that I've heard, and that's not because the volume is up. It just, at the same volume level, it sounds louder and closer. Everything is closer.
Yeah, and that's a function of soundstage, right? Headphones, particularly high-end headphones, try to recreate a sense of space so that each instrument can be localized within, the sound field. So you can say, the drums are over here, the guitar is over there, the vocal is, center stage and things like that. And various headphones do that with different degrees of success. The Bose doesn't try to do any of that. The Bose just presents you with a very narrow, very forward, in-your-face kind of a soundstage.
The soundstage was nice. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't feel as intimate in the sense that, like, when there's distance from my ears to wherever the person is singing, there's something that's kind of lost in it with me, and I haven't quite gotten used to the fact that the person that is singing isn't as close to my ears.
Yeah.
Does this make sense? Like, there's just something that's lost in the feeling there.
Absolutely.
So while it's all clearer, she just sounds like she's off somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I, for whatever reason, don't like that.
Yeah. And I mean, like, a big expansive soundstage isn't always a good thing. It's very genre dependent. It's very listener dependent.
So you would say that there's not one genre of music that the Px8 excels at. It is very much a jack of all trades.
Well, the frequency band that the Px8 excels at is the mid-range.
Okay.
So, I mean, its bass is good. It's not great. Treble's got a little bit of roll off. But there's something special in the mids in the Px8, in my opinion.
Out of all the songs we've been listening to so far today, what would you say is the most mid-centric song?
It'd be your first two.
Teddy Swims, Lose Control?
Teddy Swims and this one, yeah.
And this one, Paper Bag by Fiona Apple. It just sounds really good through these headphones.
Yeah.
What's going on here? What is this? What's going on?
So the Focals do something interesting with their soundstage. Where the Px8 has a bit of depth to its soundstage, it doesn't have a lot of height. Whereas the Focals have a very three-dimensional soundstage.
All right, this is very different. I don't know if this is the way that the song is mixed, but I'm just getting a lot more on the left and on the right. Like, I almost feel like the sort of stereo recording of it is being done on purpose. Maybe I'm remembering songs like Lose Control and Paper Bag. Maybe I'm just thinking about them in a different way. Or maybe my Bose headphones just are bassy all the time. But in those songs, bass was not prominent at all. In this song, Playing God by Polyphia, it was very apparent, which means that these headphones are more than capable of having something bassier sounding. Playing God by Polyphia sounds good on almost all headphones. There is a difference definitely between it, but I don't know. It sounds just as good on these as any other pair of headphones I've listened to at this point. So I'll just leave it at that. That is the weird thing about that song. Like, it always sounds good. And I don't know why that is.
Because the way that they're playing those instruments is very snappy. Like, there's a lot of verve that they're playing with, you know? Like, it's not some melodic, slow-paced, atmospheric track. It's a very aggressive track. If an instrumental track could be said to be aggressive, right?
Yeah. Once again, there's a bit of distance between myself and the band, but I can hear every instrument. It sounds good on every pair of headphones. I don't know why.
I'm curious to get your take about Knights of Cydonia on these, because I predict you probably won't like them as much as on the Bose, but probably more than the Melomania.
Okay. So Playing God by Polyphia on these headphones is a pretty close tie for me between the Px8s and these. It sounds different on both of them. This is a lot more up in your eardrums, whereas the Px8's not so much. But for some reason on the Px8s, it just sounded cleaner overall. There wasn't as much variation between the instruments.
The Px8 gives a bit more of a simplistic presentation of this song. The song is being performed in front of you, whereas on the Focals, it's being performed all around you. There's that three-dimensional soundstage effect going on, which I really enjoy. So, like, for me, that song in particular, the Focals are the tippity top.
Not really sure whether or not Knights of Cydonia is like mixed correctly or something, or just the way that it sounds on streaming platforms is garbage. I've heard this song live, and you know, obviously a live setting is completely different, but it just, again, it lacks a lot of punchiness. I keep going back to that. There doesn't seem to be as much separation on like the left and the right with the stereo. Certainly wasn't as, it was more apparent on something like Playing God by Polyphia. It just doesn't sound good. And I don't know if that's the headphones or if that's the way it's mixed.
With songs like Knights of Cydonia that aren't mixed all that well, you'll find that as your gear improves and the resolution of your gear improves, that'll actually sound worse.
Knights of Cydonia sounds the best on these headphones. It just sounds like there's a lot going on at the beginning, and I'm hearing like all of it, but I don't think that there are like many like layers to this song. I don't know how to explain this. I think it's just maybe better sounding on cheaper stuff.
Yeah, well, with classic rock like Muse, you want that wall of sound effect. This is like, again, part of the paradox of this hobby, right? You don't always need more resolving gear to appreciate music. With stuff like this, like, it's all about fun. You know, this is a fun track. It's not a super highly technical track. You know, this isn't like an incredibly well mastered track. It's just a fun track.
The vocals are a lot clearer than something like the Bose, in the sense that I can hear more of Matt Bellamy's voice. It's just not a fun sounding song on this. So I keep saying distance, and that the word for that is soundstage, right? Are there better ways to be able to describe soundstage? Like, is it for me, it'd be a good soundstage or bad soundstage, but is there a better way of explaining it?
No, because it's entirely dependent on the song you're listening to and your personal preference, right? So a set of headphones like the Sennheiser HD800s, which are, you know, $3,000 open back wired headphones, their entire thing is soundstage. They want to be acoustically invisible on your ears so that you get this big concert hall type effect.
I am more aware of what's going on in the left ear cup than in the right ear cup. There is a da-dung noise, whatever instrument that is.
Sorry, a what noise?
A da-dung.
Okay.
There is a da-dung noise. It's like a guitar strum, kind of, that just I keep hearing over and over again, and I don't know why I'm hearing it in the left ear cup more than the others. I haven't done anything with the EQ. I don't even have the app installed, so I don't know what's going on there. It's also just kind of harsh sounding. I don't like it. So if I listen to this song in, like, I don't know, FLAC or lossless or whatever any of those things mean, would it sound better or probably not?
No.
No. Okay. Maybe I'll just listen to them live then. People like my wife listen to artists like Kendrick Lamar and just hear a beat. They never hear words. I find that when I'm listening to music, I'm always listening for the words first rather than the beat. And it seems to be, I guess, ultimately you want to listen to everything, right? But for some reason, I fixate more on what they're saying rather than how it sounds. And the beat, the catch, the hook, whatever it might be, comes secondary for me.
Yeah, and I mean, like songs like "Humble" by Kendrick Lamar, even though he's a rapper and it's a bass heavy track, it is also quite a technical track, right? In terms of how much lyrical density there is. You know, he's a very clever lyricist, and to appreciate that, you want to be able to hear every word. You want to be able to, you know, really follow the intricacies of his rhymes and his lyrics. And so a headset like the Melomania might actually be quite good for that, even though they're not really a bass heavy headphone.
I figured this song would sound pretty good on here. Very, very bass heavy. There is a lot of bass in the song. I'm losing a lot of his voice. And after listening to some of the other headphones, I'm not enjoying it as much anymore. I'm just losing a lot of his voice. It's being drowned out by everything else.
Yeah, and like you could dial back the bass a little bit on EQ and get, you know, a little bit more of the vocal clarity come through, but it's not going to improve it by a large margin. So if you need that vocal to be very clear and crisp, then they're perhaps not the best headphones.
Yeah, okay, you're right. So again, vocals are incredibly clear. The bass is just the right amount. It's not overwhelming. I can hear everything. There's like I don't even know what they call it, but at the very start of the song on a guitar, when they sort of like scratch up the guitar, I don't know what that's called. There's this sound that happens at the very start of this song that honestly, like, kind of sent shivers down my spine. I just wasn't expecting it. Kendrick is being drowned out a little bit by the bass on these, which I wasn't really expecting. I'm not enjoying it as much as the Px8 or the Melomanias. This song is definitely the most fun being the operative word on the Bose, but you lose a lot in the process. It really depends on what kind of mood I'm in. If I really, really wanted to listen to the lyrics and focus predominantly on that and have that being clear, I think the Px8s and maybe even the Melomanias would be a bit clearer. He is just closer, through the vocals. First of all, the noise cancellation on this is pretty good. I didn't really hear a whole lot of what was going on around me. We've got some sort of fairly noisy trolleys that are moving backwards and forwards in the hallway out here. And there's sort of an audible air conditioner sort of noise, but nothing too loud in this room. I've now worn these for 5 songs. They are very, very comfortable. They are probably a touch tight. The clamping force, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if there's a name for that. It's a bit tight. They fit pretty well over my ears. I never felt hot the entire time that I was wearing these. I'm sitting with a lot of sun on my back right now. I'm aware of that. But at no point do I feel sort of hot and sweaty wearing these. I think I could probably wear these for a decent amount of time. And talking about time, again, 100 hours of battery life. Haven't personally tested that unless you want to sit on YouTube for the next 100 hours and wait it out. But from what I've heard, it really does last that long, if not a touch longer. We're going to make a quick phone call on these because you've got to remember with Bluetooth headphones, they make calls. You can make calls on these, and usually they're not that great. What I'm going to ask Jason to do now is move to the other side of this room, and I'm going to ring him, and he's going to tell me how I sound.
Hello.
Hello. You were listening to me on the Melomania P100s. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a little bit of a hiss to your voice. It sounds a bit sibilant, but I mean, I can hear you perfectly well.
There are 3 settings on these headphones. There's quiet, which works wonderfully, blocks absolutely everything out. There's aware, which amplifies the sound around me. And then there's something called immersive mode, which is unique to these Ultras, that does something real wacky. It's kind of like a 3D sort of panoramic type thing. And that straight off the bat just wipes out so much of what's going on in the back end, if that makes sense. And so for the every time I'm listening to these on quiet mode, just so you know.
Hello.
Hello, you are listening to me on the Bose QuietComfort Ultras. How do I sound to you?
You sound good.
I sound good. I'm going to knock on the table. I'm assuming you heard that.
I did, yes. Yeah, I think you sounded slightly better on the Melomanias.
The Bowers and Wilkins Px8 007 edition. These are your headphones.
They are.
Why'd you pick these?
That's a long story.
Okay, we don't have that kind of time. Why did you pick the 007 edition?
Purely because I like the color. They're no different from any other PX8. They don't sound any better. It's just a more attractive color.
Is this leather?
Yep.
Yeah.
So real leather ear cups and headband and aluminium frame.
What do these set you back?
About 1,200.
About 1,200. Okay. Happy with them?
Yeah. They're not a perfect headphone. I'd go so far as to say they're not even an audiophile grade headphone.
Okay.
I'd say they're just at the top of like the premium consumer category. Hello.
Hello. Have you used these for phone calls before?
I've tried to a couple of times. They're not great at it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm kind of hearing myself come back. It's not my own voice coming back to me, but there's sort of like an echoiness. I feel like I'm in some sort of weird sort of chamber.
Yeah.
But you're clear. Like I can hear you well enough. All right, the focal Bathys. I'm going to call them Bathys. These headphones, they're kind of ugly. Do you like the look of these?
No.
Yeah, they're pretty hideous. Although, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder and all of that. They feel pretty good. They don't feel as good as the PX8s, but they are, I think, maybe even a touch lighter. I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know if this is metal. The logo is horrible. Visually, these are not appealing. I don't like these at all. I have already switched these on, and I'm very confused by the amount of buttons that are on these things. I'm not sure what all of it does, but I think that I've found in this button here the noise cancellation, which doesn't seem very prominent. Have you listened to these before?
I have, yeah.
The noise cancellation there's not a whole lot going on there.
No.
I can almost hear you perfectly. Do I have it on aware mode? Oh, there is an aware mode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't like that. I don't like these headphones. Do I have to listen to the songs?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. You're sounding very distant though.
You sound quite distant as well, and there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah. I'm hearing myself back through your headphones too.
Oh, right, and you're all the way on the other side of the room. So these headphones are ugly, and they're not good for noise cancelling. No. They're not great for phone calls, no. But God, they sound good.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I suppose I would sort of conclude all of this with like a personal winner for me. It really is dependent on what your use case for them are. And I actually want to say that one of these is better than the other. I don't want to go, you decide, right? So, I mean, ultimately, like in terms of sound quality, it's the focals. In terms of overall comfort and noise cancellation, it's the Ultras. For like a premium kind of feel and just covering such a wide range of songs, the PX8s kind of ticks all of that. I don't think they're that comfortable, I'll be honest. They look pretty, they feel nice, but I don't think they're that comfortable overall. I don't know how long I would wear these for before I would start to feel like a little bit of fatigue. And then the all-rounder is very likely the Melomanias. For my use case, unfortunately, in the end, the Ultras would probably win because it covers all of my needs. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, you've gone into this knowing that I'm not an audiophile, and I think that this is probably going to be the least popular choice for most people who are after really great sound quality. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard.
Well, see, the problem with the focals in particular, even though they're fabulous sounding, is all those drawbacks that come with it. You know, the poor isolation, poor noise quality, the poor core quality, and things like that. They really are just an audiophile headphone that's masquerading as a Bluetooth noise cancelling headphone.
Yeah.
Because noise cancellation isn't that great. So if you're going to be using them for long haul flights or train trips or bus trips or even just walking down a busy street, you're not going to benefit from all that fabulous sound. They really are for sitting in an office or a home environment and listening to things critically.
Yep.
Which isn't what most people buy Bluetooth headphones for.
Yep.
In that use case, you're better off getting wired, open audiophile headphones
Makes
in
sense.
most cases. If you're after sort of, high quality sound on the move with, a small form factor and decent noise cancelling, I feel like the PX8s are a very strong contender.
The price difference between the PX8s and the Ultras is considerable, though.
It is.
And that is a big part of it. If they were more comfortable, I would almost say that the PX8s would be winners. If you could pick again, what would you go for?
Not the Bowers Wilkins.
Very good.
Although the Melomanias are very tempting
Yeah.
because they're a lot cheaper and they get you a lot of the way there.
I need to know what the Melomanias cost. Let's just quickly figure that out. These are $479.
Is that on sale though?
No, it just says that they're $479.
Say regular retail price?
Apparently, according to Addicted to Audio.
Yeah.
Um,
In that case, they win. That's like a third of the price of my Bowers.
I've changed my mind. If I could do it again, I would probably pick these. And I'll actually quickly tell you why. Obviously, price is a big part of it. But I've come to realize that I purchased these so that I could be in Teams meetings and use them as a work headphone and as a play headphone. But the noise cancellation and the microphone quality isn't as good as I thought it would be, to the point where I would almost probably drop down to a level below the Ultras. I think they just call them the QuietComfort something. I don't know what they are. They're cheaper. But knowing that these are now $479, I just assume they're a lot more expensive. The Melomanias win.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Melomanias win. That's it. I'm done. This is my review. Thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll see you in another video. Bye.
Toodaloo.